The council chamber was full of noise. 47 different species sat in their seats, talking about trade routes and mining rights. Ambassador 1 sat quietly in the human section. She watched the others argue about small things. They had been arguing about the same small things for months now. One was tired, not from lack of sleep but from something deeper. She looked around the massive hall. The ceiling showed stars from 1,000 worlds. Beautiful lights floated in the air, translating every word into every language. This place was supposed to represent unity and progress, but nothing new had happened here in decades. A tall alien with blue skin stood up. His name was difficult to say in human words. He complained about humans again. "The human delegation keeps delaying votes," he said. "They ask for more time on every decision. What are they doing?" One stood slowly. Every eye in the chamber turned to her. "We are considering our options," she said. Her voice was calm and clear. "We will have an answer soon." The blue alien sat down, unsatisfied. Other delegates whispered to each other. Humans had been acting strange for months, maybe years. They were hard to notice at first, these small changes, but now everyone saw them. After the session ended, one walked through the long hallways of Nexus Prime. The station orbited a star at the center of known space. It was neutral ground, belonging to no one and everyone. She passed shops and restaurants where dozens of species mixed together. Some waved at her. She waved back with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. In her private office, one activated her communication device. The screen showed Wu's face. He was back in human space, working on something important, something secret. "How much longer?" Wu asked. 30 cycles, one said. "I told them we'd make an announcement in 30 cycles." Wu nodded. "We'll be ready. The last stations are being cleared now. Nuss colony finished evacuation yesterday." One felt her chest tighten. Nu governed a frontier world far from Earth. It was a beautiful place with purple skies and silver oceans. Humans had lived there for 80 years. Now it was empty. How is she handling it? "She cried when she locked the doors," Wu said quietly, "but she understands why." They both went silent. The weight of what they were doing pressed down on them. After a moment, Wu spoke again. "Do you think they'll try to stop us?" "Maybe," one said, "but they can't. We're not breaking any laws, we're not starting a war, we're just leaving." "Some of them won't understand." "No," one agreed, "they won't." Far from Nexus Prime, on the edges of human space, the evacuation continued. Massive ships moved between worlds, carrying people and everything they owned. Factories shut down. Research stations went dark. Cities that had stood for centuries were cleaned and locked, left perfect and empty for whoever came next. Na stood on the observation deck of her ship. Below, her world rotated slowly. The colony's lights were still on, running on automatic systems, but no one was home anymore. 50,000 people had lived there last month. Now they were all gone, moving toward the rally point near the galactic rim. A young woman named Min stood beside Na. She had been born on this world. She had never seen Earth except in pictures. "Will someone else live here?" Min asked. "Probably," Na said. "We left everything working. The farms, the water systems, the power grid. Whoever comes will find a ready home." "That's good," Min said. Tears ran down her face. "I want someone to love it like we did." Na put her arm around the young woman's shoulders. "They will, and they'll wonder about us, the humans who built all this and then walked away." In the council chamber, delegates were investigating. A species called the Thorn People sent scouts to human worlds. The scouts came back confused. "The worlds are empty but undamaged," their report said. "Everything works perfectly. It's like humans just vanished." The blue delegate who had questioned one called a special meeting. "What are the humans doing?" he demanded. "They're abandoning colonies. They're dismantling stations. They won't explain anything." Other delegates agreed. Some were angry, some were worried. A few were curious. Everyone wanted answers. One attended the meeting. She listened to their concerns and their fears. When they finished, she stood. "In 30 cycles, humanity will address this council," she said. "We will explain everything. Until then, we ask for patience." "Patience?" The blue delegate's voice rose. "Your species is behaving like they're preparing for war." "We're not preparing for war," one said firmly. "I promise you that. What we're doing has nothing to do with any of you. Please trust us for just a little longer." The meeting ended badly. Delegates left angry and confused, but there was nothing they could do. Humans weren't threatening anyone. They weren't breaking treaties. They were just acting very, very strange. That night one couldn't sleep. She stood at her window, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, beyond the edge of the galaxy, was the reason for everything. The discovery that changed humanity's future. The thing that called to them so strongly they were willing to leave paradise behind. She thought about Earth, the beautiful blue world where humanity was born. She thought about all the colonies, all the achievements, all the friendships made with alien species over 200 years. They were giving up so much. But they were gaining something too, something that only humans seem to want. The chance to reach for the impossible, the opportunity to become something new, the risk, the danger, the great unknown adventure that made human hearts beat faster. One touched the window, the glass was cold. 30 more days, she whispered to the stars. Then we tell them goodbye. Behind her, her communication device beeped. Messages from Earth, from the colonies, from the evacuation fleet. All saying the same thing. We're ready. Whatever happens next, we're ready. The countdown had begun. The transport hub on Earth was chaos, but it was organized chaos. Yang stood in the control center, watching thousands of screens at once. Each screen showed a different ship, a different group of people, a different part of the evacuation. His job was to make sure everyone got where they needed to go. "Bay 47 is full," someone called out. "Moving to Bay 48. "Family group from Seoul needs special accommodation," another voice said. "They have a grandmother who can't walk well." Yang typed commands into his console. "Bay 48 confirmed. Send the Seoul family to Medical Ship 7. They have better facilities." His fingers never stopped moving. He had been doing this for weeks. He would do it for weeks more. A young boy ran past him, laughing. His mother chased after him, apologizing. Yang smiled. Even in the middle of an evacuation, children found ways to play. That was good. That was human. On another world, Bin walked through an alien marketplace for the last time. She was a scientist who studied other species. She had spent 20 years learning about the Thorn people, the Blue Delegates, the Crystal Singers, and dozens of others. Now she was writing it all down, recording everything. A Thorn person approached her. His name was hard for humans to pronounce, so she called him Brightleaf. They had been friends for 10 years. "You're leaving," he said. It wasn't a question. "Yes," Bin said. She couldn't lie to him. "Why?" Brightleaf's voice was sad. "Are we not good friends? Is the galaxy not peaceful?" Bin sat down at a table. Brightleaf sat across from her. She wanted to explain, but how could she make him understand? "Do you know what humans are like?" she asked. "I thought I did," Brightleaf said. "We're never satisfied," Bin said. "Not because we're greedy, not because we're angry, but because we always want to know what's next. We can't help it. It's just how we're made." She pulled out a data pad and showed him her work. "This is everything I've learned about your people. Your history, your art, your biology, your dreams. I'm leaving it here. Other humans will read it and remember you. We'll never forget the Thorn people, even if we're gone." Brightleaf looked at the data. "You're making it sound like you're dying." "Maybe we are," Bin said quietly. "Or maybe we're being born into something new. We don't know. That's the scary part. That's also the exciting part." In military headquarters, reviewed security reports. He was in charge of protecting the evacuation fleet. It was the biggest military operation in human history, and they were trying to do it without anyone noticing too much. Not an easy job. All ships accounted for, his assistant reported. The last colony worlds are empty. Everyone is moving toward the rally point. Any problems? Asked. A few pirate groups tried to raid abandoned stations. We stopped them without violence. Some alien governments are asking questions. We're telling them as little as possible. Nodded, he looked at a picture on his desk. It showed him as a young man graduating from the academy. That was 40 years ago. He had spent his whole career protecting humanity. Now he was protecting humanity's right to leave. Strange how things worked out. His thoughts went back 15 years. That's when everything changed. That's when the deep space probe found it. Not an object, not exactly. More like a doorway or a signal or a presence. Scientists couldn't explain it with normal physics. It didn't fit any known pattern. Remembered the meetings. Thousands of experts arguing about what to do. Some said ignore it, too dangerous. Some said study it carefully, take our time. But others, the ones who won in the end, said something different. They said, this is what we've always been looking for. The next step, the great unknown. Humanity debated for 2 years. Every person got to vote, even children. The question was simple. Should we investigate this anomaly, knowing we might never come back, knowing we might fail, knowing we'd have to leave everything behind? 67% said yes. 33% said no. It wasn't unanimous, but it was clear. Humanity wanted to go. The amazing thing was what happened next. Of the 33% who voted no, almost all of them decided to come anyway. I don't think this is smart, one woman said in an interview, but I'm not staying behind while everyone else goes on an adventure. If humanity is doing this, I'm part of humanity. That was 15 years ago. Since then, humans had been preparing in secret, building special ships, developing new technology, planning the evacuation, all while pretending everything was normal to the rest of the galaxy. Back on Earth, Yang finally took a break. He walked outside the transport hub and looked at the sky. It was night. Stars shone above him. He thought about how many times humans had looked at stars and wondered what was out there. Now they were going to find out. His communication device beeped. A message from his sister on Mars. We're boarding tomorrow. This is really happening, isn't it? Yang typed back, yes, this is really happening. See you at the rally point. In another part of the galaxy, a human teacher named Yi Jin sat with her alien students for the last time. She taught literature at a mixed-species school. Her students didn't know she was leaving forever. Today, we're reading human poetry, she said. She pulled up a poem on the screen. This was written 500 years ago by a human who dreamed of flying. The students read the poem. A young crystal singer raised her hand. Why do humans write so much about going places, about leaving home? Yijin smiled. Because that's our story. We started in caves, then we built cities, then we went to space. Then we came here and met all of you. We're always moving, always reaching. It's like breathing for us. After class, Yijin erased the boards and locked the classroom. She left a note for whoever would teach here next. The students are wonderful, she wrote. Teach them well. They have so much potential. She walked through the empty hallways. Other human teachers had already left. The school would find replacements easily. Life would go on. But Yi Jin felt her heart breaking a little. She loved this place. She loved these students. Outside, a thorn person was waiting. It was Brightleaf. He had followed Bin here trying to understand. Why won't you tell us where you're going? He asked Yi Jin. Yi Jin stopped. She thought about lying, but what was the point now? We found something, she said. Beyond the edge of the galaxy, something that might let us become different. We don't have the words for it, but it called to us and we have to answer. Is it dangerous? Probably. Could you die? Probably. Then why go? Brightleaf's voice rose. Why leave safety for danger? Why leave friends for the unknown? Yi Jin looked at him, really looked at him. Because we're human, she said, and humans would rather die reaching for something than live safe without trying. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't make sense to you, but it's true. She walked away, leaving Brightleaf standing alone. He watched her go, confused and sad. Other aliens were starting to understand. Something big was happening, something that would change everything. The countdown continued. 20 cycles until the announcement. 20 cycles until humanity said goodbye. In transport hubs and military stations, on ships and colonies, humans worked. They packed. They documented. They remembered. And they prepared to leave the stars wondering. The council chamber had never been this full. Every species sent their leaders. Every seat was taken. Even the standing areas were packed with observers. The air hummed with nervous energy and 1,000 different conversations. One stood in the human section, waiting. Beside her was Wu Jin, a historian whose job was to record this moment. He held a camera that would capture everything. This was important. This needed to be remembered. The council speaker called for silence. The noise died slowly. The human delegation has requested to address this assembly, the speaker said. Ambassador 1, you may begin. One walked to the center platform. A spotlight fell on her. 47 species watched her. She felt the weight of their attention. She also felt the weight of history. What she said in the next few minutes would define how the galaxy remembered humanity. She took a breath, then she began. Friends, she said, that's what you've been to us. For 200 years you welcomed us into the galaxy. You taught us your languages, you shared your worlds. You showed us wonders we could never have imagined alone. We are grateful, more than we can say. The chamber was silent. Everyone waited. But today we must tell you something difficult, one continued. Humanity is leaving, not just this council, not just a few colonies, all of us. Every human in the galaxy is departing. The silence broke. Voices erupted from every section. Shock, anger, confusion, disbelief. The council speaker called for order, but it took several minutes for the noise to die down. When it was quiet again, one spoke. I know you have questions. I'll try to answer them. But first, you need to understand why. She activated a display behind her. It showed Earth, that beautiful blue world. This is where we came from, she said. For millions of years, humans lived there. We were just animals. We hunted. We gathered. We survived. That should have been enough, but it wasn't. The display changed. It showed humans building cities, inventing writing, creating art. We could never stay still, one said. We climbed every mountain because it was there. We crossed every ocean to see what was on the other side. We went to space even though it might kill us. That's what humans do. We reach. We explore. We wonder. The display showed humanity's first contact with aliens. Ships meeting in space. Hands and tentacles and claws touching for the first time. You gave us everything we thought we wanted, one said. Peace, prosperity, knowledge, friendship. And it was wonderful, it was beautiful, but... She paused. How could she explain this? How could she make them understand? But it wasn't enough, she said quietly. Not because you weren't enough. Because we need something that even paradise can't give us. We need mystery. We need the unknown. We need to reach for something impossible and maybe fail. The blue delegate stood up. This is insane, he said. You have everything here. Why would you throw it away? Because having everything is not the same as searching for everything, one answered. 15 years ago, our deep space probes found something, an anomaly beyond the galactic edge. We don't understand it. We can't explain it with any science we know. It might be a doorway. It might be a signal. It might be something we don't have words for. She looked around the chamber, meeting eyes with creatures who looked nothing like her but who she had learned to call friends. We studied it as much as we could from a distance, and we realized something. This thing, whatever it is, offers a chance to become something different. Not better, not worse, just different. A new way of existing. How do you know? Someone called out. How can you be sure? We can't, one admitted. That's the point. We don't know if it will work. We don't know if we'll survive. We might fail completely. We might die. We might simply disappear. But we have to try. A crystal singer spoke, her voice like bells. Did all humans agree to this? We voted, one said. Every human, even children, had a voice. 67% said yes. 33% said no. But when it came time to actually leave, 98% chose to come. Even those who thought it was a bad idea couldn't stay behind. That's how humans are. When our people move, we move together. Wu Jin watched from the side, his camera recording everything. He saw confusion on alien faces. He saw anger. He saw sadness. But he also saw something else in a few, curiosity. A handful of species looked at one with something like understanding. One continued, "We're leaving you a gift, everything we've learned in 200 years. Our technology, our art, our research, our history. We've prepared detailed databases. They're being transmitted to the Council now. Everything we know is yours." She pulled up a star map. It showed all of human space lit up. "We're also leaving you our worlds. Every colony, every station, every city, we've cleaned them. We've left them working. Whoever wants them can have them. They're ready for new life." The Thorn delegate stood. "You're giving us your homes." "Yes," one said. "We can't take them with us, and we don't want them empty. Please live there, love them like we did. Remember us when you walk through the cities we built." She paused. This was the hardest part. "I know some of you will want to follow us. Please don't. We've tried to make the technology work for your species. It doesn't. The path we're taking is specifically for humans. We don't know why, but attempting it could destroy you. The Council must forbid any species from trying to follow." "You're asking us to let you go to your deaths," the blue delegate said. His anger had faded. Now he just sounded sad. "Maybe," one said. "Or maybe to our birth, we don't know. That's what makes it worth doing." She looked at all of them, these alien beings who had been neighbors and colleagues and friends. "I want you to understand something. We're not running away. We're not angry with you. You didn't fail us. The galaxy didn't fail us. This place is wonderful, but humans need more than wonderful. We need wonder itself." One walked back to her seat. The Council erupted again. Questions flew from every direction. How long until they left? Could the Council send observers? Could they change their minds? Would humans ever come back? One answered what she could. "We leave in 90 cycles. No observers, we're sorry. We won't change our minds, and as for coming back," she paused. "We don't know. If we succeed, maybe we'll be something that can't come back. If we fail, there won't be anything left to return. Either way, you should think of this as permanent." The session lasted for hours. Aliens pleaded with one to reconsider. They offered resources, technology, help. They promised to let humans explore freely. They begged humanity to stay. One refused everything gently but firmly. "The choice is made," she kept saying. "We've voted, we've prepared. Now we must follow through. This is what it means to be human." Finally, the Council speaker ended the session. Aliens filed out slowly, talking in shocked voices. Some were crying. Some were angry. All were confused. Wu Jin approached one. "How do you feel?" he asked. "Tired," she said. "Sad, but also." She looked toward the stars visible through the chamber's ceiling. "Also eager. We told them. Now we just have to do it." That night the news spread across the galaxy. Humanity was leaving. The reaction was massive. Some species celebrated, glad to see humans go. Most were shocked and sad. A few understood, at least a little. But everyone wondered the same thing. What could be worth giving up everything? What mystery was so great that an entire species would risk death to pursue it? One didn't sleep that night. She stood at her window, looking at the stars, thinking about the path ahead. Somewhere out there, beyond the edge of known space, the anomaly waited. The doorway, the signal, the chance to become something new. 90 cycles, she whispered. Then we find out if we're brave or just foolish. The countdown continued. The rally point was beyond the galactic rim, far from any inhabited system. It was empty space, dark and quiet, but now it was filled with light. Thousands of human ships gathered there, creating a temporary city among the stars. Wu stood in the command center of the lead ship. Around him, dozens of engineers monitored systems. They had spent 15 years preparing for this. Now it was time to see if their work would succeed or fail. "Status report," Wu said. "All civilian transports accounted for," someone answered. "Military escorts in position. Colony ships ready. The last stragglers arrived an hour ago." Wu nodded. He looked at the main screen. It showed every human ship, thousands of them arranged in a massive formation. Millions of people were on those ships, every living human in the galaxy. This was it. Everything they were, everything they had been, was here in this moment. A message came through. It was Na calling from her colony ship. "We're ready when you are," she said. "My people are scared, but they're also excited. Is that normal?" "Completely normal," Wu said with a small smile. "I'm terrified and thrilled at the same time." On one of the smaller ships, a young girl named Ha pressed her face against a window. She was 7 years old. She had been born on a colony world and had never seen Earth except in videos. Her parents stood behind her. "What will it be like?" Ha asked. "Where we're going?" Her father touched her shoulder. "We don't know, little one. No one knows. That's why we're going." "Will it hurt?" "Maybe, but we'll be together." Ha thought about this. "I'm not scared," she decided. "I think it will be an adventure." Her mother smiled, tears in her eyes. "That's my brave girl." In another ship, an old man named Sung-min sat in his quarters. He was 93 years old. He had been one of the first humans to meet aliens, back when contact was new and frightening. He had served on the Galactic Council for 40 years. He had seen humanity grow from newcomers to respected members of the galactic community. Now he was watching it all end, or begin, depending on how you looked at it. Someone knocked on his door. It was his granddaughter Min, the same young woman who had cried when leaving Nuss Colony. "Grandfather," she said, "they're about to start. Do you want to watch?" "Yes," Sung-min said. He stood slowly. His body was old, but his mind was sharp. "I want to see this." They walked to the observation deck. It was crowded with people. Everyone wanted to watch. Min found them a spot by a large window. Outside, the galaxy stretched behind them. Beautiful, peaceful, everything they were leaving behind. "Do you think we're making a mistake?" Min asked quietly. Sung-min was quiet for a moment. "I don't know," he admitted. "But I know this: I've lived a long life. I've seen amazing things, but I've also seen humanity get comfortable, get satisfied, get safe. That's when we start to die inside, not physically but in spirit. This," he gestured at the fleet, "this is us choosing to stay alive in the way that matters most." Suddenly, alarms sounded. Not emergency alarms, just notifications. Everyone fell silent. It was time. On the command ship, Wu took a deep breath. "Begin final checks," he ordered. Engineers called out confirmations. Every system was ready. Every ship was in position. Every person was as safe as they could be made. Now came the moment of truth. "Activate the pathway device," Wu said. In the center of the formation, a massive piece of equipment came to life. It had been built from the anomaly's own energy signature, reverse-engineered by humanity's best scientists. They thought it would open a doorway. They hoped it would let them through, but they weren't sure, not completely. The device hummed. Energy crackled around it. Space itself began to bend, twist, fold. Something impossible was happening. The laws of physics were being rewritten in a small area of space. And then it opened. Not a hole, not a portal, but a transition. A place where here became there, where normal space became something else. "We have a stable pathway," an engineer called out. "It's working." Wu felt his heart racing. How long will it stay open? Unknown. Could be hours, could be minutes. We need to go now. Wu opened a communication to the entire fleet. Millions of people heard his voice. This is it, he said. The moment we've prepared for, the moment we've chosen. I won't lie to you. We don't know what's on the other side. We don't know if we'll survive, but we know we're doing this together. All of humanity moving as one. I'm proud to take this step with you. He paused. Any ship that wants to turn back can do so now. No judgment, no shame. This is a choice, and it remains a choice until the end. Everyone waited. No ship moved away from the formation. Then let's go, Wu said. Let's see what we can become. The first ships entered the pathway. They didn't explode. They didn't disappear into nothing. They simply transitioned. They were there and then they were not there, moving from one state of existence to another. More ships followed, dozens, hundreds, a steady stream of humanity flowing into the unknown. On the observation deck, Ha watched ships vanish. They're going somewhere, she said. I can feel it. They're not dying, they're just going. Her parents hoped she was right. Sungmin held Min's hand. When I was young, he said, I asked my grandmother what it meant to be human. She said it meant being brave enough to be afraid, smart enough to know you might fail, and stubborn enough to try anyway. I finally understand what she meant. Their ship began to move. They were near the end of the formation. Sungmin looked back at the galaxy one more time. He saw stars where humans had lived. He saw trade routes they had traveled. He saw the beauty and peace they were leaving behind. I was happy here, he said, but happiness isn't enough. We need purpose. We need mystery. We need to reach for something beyond our grasp and see if we can touch it anyway. Min nodded. She was crying, but she was smiling too. I'm scared, grandfather. Good, Sungmin said. Being scared means we're about to do something important. More ships vanished into the pathway. The fleet was shrinking. Thousands had already gone. Thousands more waited their turn. On the command ship, Wu made a decision. Activate the destruct sequence on the pathway device, he said. Sir, an engineer looked shocked. Do it. We can't leave this technology behind. We don't know what it could do in the wrong hands. Even in the right hands, it might be dangerous. Once the last ship is through, destroy it. The engineer nodded and entered the commands. The device would collapse once its job was done, taking all its secrets with it. Finally, it was their turn. Sungmin and Min felt their ship move forward. The pathway grew closer. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Reality bent around it. Normal space ended at its edge. Here we go, Min whispered. The ship entered the pathway. For a moment, everything felt strange. Not painful, just different, like being in two places at once, like being yourself and not yourself, like ending and beginning at the same time. Then they were through. They were somewhere else, somewhere new, somewhere that didn't follow the old rules. Behind them, the last human ship crossed. It was Wu's command vessel. As soon as it was through, the pathway device exploded. Not violently, it just stopped existing. The doorway closed. The way back was gone. In the old galaxy, alien observers watched from a safe distance. They had come to witness humanity's departure. Now they saw empty space where thousands of ships had been. Not wreckage, not destruction, just emptiness. The humans were gone, vanished completely, transitioned to something else, somewhere else. The observers sent their reports back to the Galactic Council. They did it, the messages said. Humanity is gone. In the new place, wherever it was, millions of humans looked around. Everything was different here. Physics worked differently. Light moved strangely. Time felt fluid. They didn't understand any of it yet. But they were together, all of humanity taking the first steps into a new existence. Ha looked at her parents. We made it, she said. We made it, her father agreed. Now we figure out what we've become. The journey had begun. 50 years had passed since humanity left. The Galactic Council gathered in the same chamber where one had made her announcement. But today, They weren't debating trade or resources. They were deciding what to do with human space. The blue delegate stood. He was older now, his scales fatting to gray. I propose we make all former human territories into memorial zones. No species may claim them. No one may live there. They should be preserved exactly as humans left them. There was murmuring, some agreed, some disagreed. A young Thorn delegate stood. She had been just a child when humans left. With respect, she said, I don't think humans would want that. They left their worlds working. They left gifts for us. They wanted us to use them, not preserve them like museums. The Crystal Singer delegate chimed in, her voice like bells. I agree. Humans gave us their homes so we could live in them, not so we could look at them through glass. After hours of debate, the council voted. Human worlds would become memorial zones, but they could be visited. They could be studied. They just couldn't be colonized or changed, at least not yet. The decision was made out of respect, but also out of confusion. No one understood why humans had left. 50 years later, it still didn't make sense to most species. Why give up paradise for the unknown? Universities began teaching courses about humans. The most popular class was called Human Philosophy, the species that needed wonder. Students studied human history, human art, human dreams. They tried to understand. A professor named Deproot taught the class. He was a Thorn person who had known many humans. Humans were paradoxes, he told his students. They built homes but dreamed of leaving them. They made friends but prepared for goodbyes. They found peace but needed danger. Understanding humans means accepting contradictions. A student raised her tentacle. Were they insane? No, Deproot said. They were just human. For them, the journey mattered more than the destination. The question mattered more than the answer. They couldn't help it. It was in their nature. 100 years passed. A species called the Silver Fleet tried to follow humanity. They studied the location where humans had vanished. They built their own pathway device. They were confident they could succeed where humans had only hoped. They were wrong. The first Silver Fleet ship that tried to cross simply ceased to exist, not destroyed, just gone, erased from reality. The second ship's crew went mad, their minds broken by something they couldn't comprehend. The third ship returned, but empty. Its crew was gone, their fates unknown. The Silver Fleet abandoned the attempt after losing 47 ships and 3,000 lives. The Galactic Council met again. This time they passed a law. No species was allowed to attempt following humanity. The pathway to wherever humans had gone was forbidden. Too dangerous, too deadly. Humans tried to warn us, the blue delegate said. He was ancient now, barely able to stand. They said the path was only for them. We should have listened. The memorial zones around human worlds became pilgrimage sites. Young people from every species visited Earth, walked through empty human cities, and wondered about the species that had lived there. Some found it inspiring. Some found it sad. All found it mysterious. A young crystal singer named Brightnote visited Earth on her graduation trip. She walked through New Sol, a city left perfect and empty. Buildings stood clean and maintained by automatic systems. Parks bloomed with flowers. Everything worked, but no one was home. She found a library and went inside. The books were still on the shelves. Human knowledge preserved forever. She picked one up and read, "Not all who wander are lost." She didn't understand, but she felt something. A strange ache. A longing for something she couldn't name. 200 years passed. The galaxy had changed. Technology advanced using knowledge from human databases. Art flourished, inspired by human creativity. Trade expanded. New species joined the council. Life went on. But something was different. Something was missing. An old Thorn philosopher named Silentleaf wrote a famous essay. Before humans left, he wrote, the galaxy was moving forward. After humans left, the galaxy is only moving. We are richer but not wealthier. We are smarter but not wiser. We have everything, but we've lost something we didn't know we had: ambition for the impossible. His essay became controversial. Some species agreed, others called it nonsense, but everyone talked about it. Everyone wondered if he was right. 300 years after humanity's departure, scientists discovered something. The area where humans had vanished sometimes showed strange energy readings. Not often, not predictably, but occasionally instruments detected something: radiation that shouldn't exist, signals that made no sense, echoes of something from somewhere else. Were they messages, warnings, proof that humans still existed in some form? No one knew. The signals couldn't be decoded. They didn't follow any known pattern, but they were there. Faint, mysterious, impossible. 400 years passed. Children grew up hearing stories about humans. They were taught that humans were the species that loved wonder more than life itself, the species that chose mystery over certainty, the species that vanished into legend. Some young people found the stories inspiring. They looked at the stars and wondered what else was out there. They asked questions their elders couldn't answer. They dreamed of impossibilities. Others found the stories frightening. They saw humanity's choice as madness. Why risk everything? Why leave paradise? Safety was better than wonder. Certainty was better than mystery. The galaxy remained divided. Some species celebrated humanity's memory, others tried to forget them, but no one could ignore them. Humans had left a mark too deep to erase. 500 years after the departure, the Galactic Council held a special ceremony. They built a monument at the exact coordinates where humanity had vanished. It took a decade to construct. Representatives from every species attended the dedication. The monument was simple: a tall pillar made of crystal and metal, standing alone in empty space. On every side, in every galactic language, the same words were carved. Here humanity departed. They sought not power, not wealth, not conquest, but wonder itself. They left us peace, knowledge, and questions we cannot answer. Remember them. Remember that some dreams are worth any price. At the ceremony, the oldest living being in the galaxy gave a speech. She was a crystal singer named High Note, over 600 years old. She had been young when humans left. She remembered them clearly. "I knew humans," she said. Her voice was weak but clear. "They were strange. They laughed at danger. They cried at beauty. They made no sense by our standards, but they taught us something important. Comfort is not the same as meaning. Safety is not the same as purpose. Having everything is not the same as reaching for something." She paused, her light flickering. "We still don't understand why they left. Maybe we never will, but I think that's okay. Maybe the point isn't to understand. Maybe the point is to wonder, just like they did." The ceremony ended. Ships returned to their homes. Life continued. But in the deep void where humanity had vanished, the strange signals continued. Occasionally, unpredictably, something was out there. Something that had once been human. Something that was now something else. Young aliens still visited the memorial zones. They walked through human cities and tried to imagine the people who had built them. They read human books and tried to understand human dreams. They looked at the stars and felt that strange ache, that longing for something undefined. Some called it curiosity, some called it ambition, some called it madness. Humans would have called it wonder. In a quiet library on Earth, a single book lay open. No one had touched it in 500 years, but the automatic systems kept it perfect. The page showed a human poem. "Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light." Outside, stars shone on an empty world, beautiful, peaceful, waiting. Somewhere in some other place, in some other way of existing, humanity was still reaching, still wondering, still being human. The galaxy they left behind had everything: technology, peace, prosperity, knowledge. Everything except the courage to ask, what if? That was humanity's gift, not their knowledge or their cities or their technology, but the question, the ache. the dream. And in the deep places of 1,000 species' hearts, that question still whispered. What if we were brave enough to reach for the impossible? What if we loved wonder more than safety? What if we chose the mystery over the answer? What if we were human? The galaxy wondered, and in wondering remembered. And humanity, wherever they were, whatever they had become, lived on in the questions they left behind. The end.